So today we're going to look at the new record SC3 chuck. I just received it there last week, and this is the first time I've actually opened the box. So as you can see, it's pretty well packaged. Chuck key comes plastic bag. The chuck itself is covered in a plastic bag as well. This is not just to keep it protected, but it's to keep it your hands free from grease, because obviously everything will now be covered in grease and need to be cleaned down. Inside the box you have a set of 50mm jaws. You have a faceplate ring that fits inside these jaws, and then we have a screw chuck, Allen keys and the wee screws that hold the jaws in place. There's also a number of manuals in different languages, and for the purpose of this I'm going to be looking for the English one, which is this set here. I'm going to just turn this off now while I open everything up and take the grease off the chuck, and then I'll show you as I put it all together. Okay, so that's the chuck unboxed and all the grease all wiped off. So you get your chuck, get your key, get your set of jaws, you get a faceplate ring which actually mounts on the jaws, and then you get a worm screw for attaching bowls or larger items onto the which fits inside the jaws here. 2 Allen keys. You get the screws for mounting the jaws onto the slides. Get a wee grub screw and a wee leather washer, and I'll come to them later on. So basically what we need to do now is put the jaws onto the actual chuck here. You'll see that they're all numbered 1, 2, 3 and 4. The reason for this being is they're actually cast in one piece of steel and then cut. So in order to get them perfectly round again when you put them onto the chuck, you must mount them in this order. You also see on the slides here that they're numbered as well, so the numbers pointing up on the jaws need to correspond with the slides. So at this point I haven't tightened the screws down completely, and I'm going to just tighten up the chuck jaws and just make sure they're all perfectly aligned. So there's very little play in the slides. Now I've done that, I'll now tighten them down fully. Don't need to be very tight. Just to, really, once you feel them biting, it's enough. Anything more than that there and you find that they're almost impossible to get out when you go to change jaws. The jaws have only a little lip on the inside, so you really, when you're turning to mount them on the compression, you don't need to put in a dovetail. It's really just keep it straight, and there's a slight bite on the inside edge here. But if you're doing expansion joints, then there is a dovetail, so you need to allow a slight dovetail on the inside of your expansion in order to expand into this. Perfect example of that there is actually the faceplate ring, which has a slight dovetail in it. It mounts on there like that, and you then tighten the jaw or widen the jaws out, and that then bites in and gives you an extremely strong hold whenever you're mounting anything onto the faceplate ring. Large bowls would be the perfect example of that. Take it off again. So when you're moving things off and on your faceplate, rather than using a traditional faceplate, this is a very nice attachment for your chuck. It means that you can swap things back and forwards fairly quickly. You don't have the knob for the traditional faceplate getting in the road when you're screwing this on. Very easy to do, and also very simple then just to remove it back off the chuck again. Other thing that comes with here is the worm screw. Fits in there, so you just widen your chucks out or your jaws out. Put this in, you line the flats up with the jaw. And again, that then gives you, I would normally drill a 9 or 10 mil hole and then screw my blank onto this here. Again, gives you a very positive bite against the jaws. Now, I did mention earlier on about the wee grub screw, and the grub screw fits in here, and the leather washer, when you turn it over, fits in here. Now, this is so when you mount it on the chuck, and particularly if you're reverse chucking, that you screw this in against your spindle, and that locks it in tight, so that you're not there's no chance of this unscrewing itself as you're turning it at what sometimes would be quite high speeds. You'll also see that the key is a positive lock, has got a very deep connection in here. The back's open. Some people are maybe not too happy with that there, but I find it, I've had used one of these now for almost 2 years, and every now and then just a quick blowout with an airline is perfectly acceptable. I haven't had any issues whatsoever with this sticking or jamming, and in actual fact it works much better than some of the other chucks I have. I have a small 3-inch exact chuck, and I find that sticks all the time, mainly because the mechanism is a wee bit loose. There's little or no play in this at all. Very good method for tightening up and loosening your chuck, and a very positive response as you're turning. So that's the SC3 chuck. I have used, already own one of these here, so looking forward to being able to use this. The reason for getting it is I have a number of different types of jaws, and it's a wee bit of a pain when you have to change jaws backs and forwards, and this is, if I'm doing a bigger project, this will allow me to say put a set of remounting jaws on without having to swap backs and forwards. I can just leave them on this chuck. So hopefully that's answered any questions you might have, and hopefully I'll get the chance to review an SC4 shortly in the next couple of months. And that's it. Thanks. Bye.